What's cooking in the kitchen, folks? Randy here with RTS Mobile Game and bringing you an absolutely out-of-this-world video today. We are playing the Lord of the Rings Rise to War, and we are talking about the top 3 commanders I'm going to use on my free-to-play account going into Season 4. All right? So we have played with this free-to-play Leia account for 3 seasons now. Season 3 ends in about 12 hours. Back end's going to start, and then we're going to get ready for the next season. These are the 3 commanders I'm going to be using. This is the builds I'm going to be using at level 15 for the 3 commanders. And we're going to talk about why each one of those 3 commanders are most valuable players for my free-to-play account. So here we go. Drop down into the description as well. You can join the Forge Discord. There's over 7,500 players in there. Tons of new player guides, new build guides. So check that out for sure. There's also a well-written season start guide that we launched for Season 3, and it still holds true today, so check that out. All right, first commander that I'm going to be using on Leia, okay, is going to be Gandalf the Grey. Gandalf the Grey is the hands-down strongest commander in the game, leveling up until 35, which is exactly why you see I stopped using him at 35. In retrospect, he's also very strong in PvP. I could have kept leveling him up. However, this season I wanted to focus on other commanders for PvP. So, for leveling, there is no stronger commander than Gandalf the Grey. You'll be using him up until level 35. So, the build I'm going to be running at level 15 is going to look like this. My gear will hopefully be leveled up by then. If not, that's okay. I'm using a ranged build for Gandalf. The goal is get myself, I enjoyed leveling with the Morgul Arbalest, and they're an early unlock unit. They're one of the earlier units that you can unlock with the Gundabad faction. So I'm running a range damage build, okay? I'm also running Pierce to trigger the heal. The chest, again, this is going to have +1 range damage. The helmet is going to have +2 range damage with a Madness proc. The accessory is going to have +2 range damage with Pursuit. So all in all, I'm going to be giving my units +7 ranged damage, as well as the ability to pursue the enemy 60% of the time in the first 3 rounds. That's going to really help Gandalf accelerate with some basic tier 2 orc archers, or whatever range. If you're on the good side, you'll have even more options, whether it's sentinels, the tier 1 or tier 2 version of sentinels, or the marksman, right? So that's the gear build. I'm going to go range with Gandalf early game. The skill build, in your first 15 levels, you're going to have a total of 24 points to spend if you're respect level 5, wisdom 4, okay? So you're going to put your first 5 points into Mithrandir. From there, you're going to go ahead and put 1 point into wizard, okay? These are your first 6 points that you're doing. So at level 2, this is your build. Okay, going into level 15, you're going to continue down the Mithrandir tree. You're going to maximize Mithrandir. Once Mithrandir is 15 out of 15, you're going to go into the Convener, and you're going to maximize Convener, okay? From there, we've now hit level 14. This is what your build looks like at level 14. This is a few hours into the new season. Then you're going to start going up into the gray. Only after you have Mithrandir, the wizard, and Convener maxed out are you going to worry about the heal, okay? Because you're going to gain a free avoidance right here to all 3 of your units. You're going to have a stun on 2 enemy units in round 1. So you're going to stun the enemy in round 1. You're going to dodge their damage in round 2. In both of those rounds, you're going to have a double attack, so you deal double damage. So the goal is kill as many of them as you can in the first 2 rounds. That way there really isn't much damage output afterwards, okay? And then you're going to start putting points into the gray after that. So by the time, by the time you're level 30, you'll have the gray maxed out, you'll have a point in blindside, and you'll really be cooking along nicely with Gandalf, okay? So that's the early game leveling build with Gandalf. The next commander that I'm going to be using as a free-to-play player here in round Season 4 is going to be Gorebag. Gorebag was one of my starting guys that I used this season. I really enjoyed him. He's not the strongest commander for the first couple levels, okay? He isn't. You need to get him up into the level 20s before he starts to really shine. However, at level 15, this is the gear build and the skill build that I'll be running, okay? So the gear build is going to be a melee-centered build. I have some half-decent gear for Gore back here. +2 damage there, right? My accessory has another +1 damage, so now we're at +3 damage and +10% attack to my melee. The chest is good defense with anti-burn. You can also run, the goblin armor or the scale mail, whatever you have, but the main goal is defense. You want some damage mitigation, okay? The helmet, I like this helmet, the bone mask. There's really a lot of options for early game. I like having the ability to trigger madness on the enemy. This is, one of my favorite helmets. I might put this on Grima next season. Maybe next season I'll just run Cask of the Submerged Isle, or who knows. I might even run a blue helmet. Who knows? It's really up in the air as far as what I'm going to be running on my guys, okay? And if I have Uruk-hai units early, maybe I'll run the Berserker's Gaze for another point in Uruk-hai damage right here. Okay? And then for the skills themselves, okay, I'm going to be focusing on damage and damage mitigation. We are going to be putting 15 points into the Watchman of Cirith Ungol first. Nothing else that we're going to do other than that. So again, at level 15, you're going to have 24 points to spend. Your first 15 points are going to be maximizing the Watchman of Cirith Ungol, okay? Then you're going to go down and put your points into the Grey Leader and the Orcish Warlord. This is going to give you a good mix because the Grey Leader is going to give you 6% damage mitigation. The Orcish Warlord is going to give you another 6% damage mitigation. So you're going to be maximizing these two abilities next. Once they're maximized, they're going to give you a total of 29% damage mitigation. At that point, you'll drop down and start putting points into Old Orc and the Dress Wounds, okay? But at level 15, this is the build you're running on Gorebag. And like I said before, he is not the strongest commander in the game, early game, because he doesn't have a CC. He doesn't have the ability to, heal very well early in the game. If you put all your points down here in the Old Orc and the heal, I did try that this season and I didn't like it. It just wasn't very effective, okay? So what I would recommend to you is you're getting him going as one of your starting commanders. You can pick him or Khaldun. They're both going to be similarly effective early game. They're both going to take decent losses early game because they're just not the strongest commanders without crowd control, okay? But you're leveling him up because on day 2 and 3, once you get into the mid-20s, he's going to start to pull ahead as one of your stronger commanders for taking tiles, okay? So I would be sweeping with Gorebag in your first, maybe take a few tiles to max out your tile cap, but after that, you might be sweeping with him for a day or two, generating that extra food income, not taking heavy losses, and just slowly leveling him up while Gandalf is your primary tile taker, okay? Now, the third commander I'm going to be running here in Season 4, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Grima. This is my third and final commander. I'm not running any other commanders here in Season 4 until I get these 3 up to level 30 plus, all right? For Grima, I currently have some cavalry gear on him. I haven't decided what troops I'm going to use on him yet. I can switch around the gear a little bit, but if I do get cavalry, this will be what I'm using. I have a nice little Reach of Rittermark here, okay, with some plus damage percent and some speed. I've got some Scale Mail with some defense and damage mitigation. I've got some Horseman's Helm with defense and madness immunity. And again, the big things here, I'm going for defense and healing. The Silver Harp of Rivendell is going to give me a little bit of healing. I mean, this is going to be like 300 or 400 healing per round per unit. It's not going to be a huge amount. But the goal is early game sustainability, right? So you could really run any troop combination on Grima. He's not better with one or the other, okay? Now, the first 24 points, guys, again, you're going to put 5 points in second in command. Then you're going to drop over and put 2 points in Wormtongue, 1 point in Master of Mischief, okay? So your first 8 points are going to look like that. If you're Respect level 5 and you are Wisdom 4, that's 9 points that you can spend at level 1. You'll be able to do 5 points here, 2 and 1 at level 1, okay? Then you'll start maximizing second in command in conjunction with anticipation. So 2 points here, 1 point here, 2 points here, 1 point here. The goal is to get anticipation at 7 out of 7, okay? So at level 15, this will be 7 out of 7, at which case you can start focusing on your other skills, okay? So Grima is going to be decently strong early game because he's going to give your low defense unit 4 chances at 75% chance to dodge the first damage instances coming in. Very strong defensive talent. He's also going to give you at level 15 plus 13.9% damage to your army. And his ability to trigger madness on the entire enemy commander and army in round 3 is going to really make you very strong. So you're going to dodge a ton of stuff for rounds 1 and 2. Going into round 3, they're going to be hit with madness, all right? That's my recommendation for the Grima build early game, okay? And as you continue to level up, you'll maximize this, put some points in the defense, you start digging your way into Survivor, and then you can decide, do you want to put points in Enfeeble or not? If you happen to put a Madness Helm on him, like I said, I'm probably going to take Gorebag's helmet off. Probably going to put Gorebag's Madness helmet on Grima. You could put points in Enfeeble. You could start putting your points after level 15 into trying to get Enfeeble leveled up, so it gives you an additional damage in rounds 1 and 3. So in round 1, your Madness helmet will trigger. You'll get plus damage against whatever that enemy is. In round 3, your Madness will trigger from both your Master of Mischief, your Worm Tongue, and your helmet. So really a lot of chances to use Enfeeble with Grima with a Madness helmet, all right? Survivor is interesting. This is more of a late game skill. You're not going to really, most of your tiles and sweeping, you're not going to really need anything that goes past the first couple rounds. You're going to kill most of the enemy in the first 3 or 4 rounds, and maybe you drag into round 5 or 6. But this is a late game PvP skill. Don't worry about Survivor. Okay? And then as far as Wizard's Assistant, I've heard a lot of conversations about Wizard's Assistant and lower defenses. At this point in time, until you're like level 40 to 50 range, you're not going to even have additional points to waste. Since Wizard's Assistant is completely useless, there's no point wasting points into that just to grab lower defenses to increase your army's damage by 30% and 50% of the time, okay? It's not worth it. If anything, stack your points into Worm Tongue. Master of Mischief is going to give minus defense, and then Enfeeble, okay? All right, so those are the 3 commanders, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be using Gandalf the Grey as my main tile taker. I'll be using Gorebag to sweep, and I'll be using Grima as a mixture of tile taking and sweeping in round day 1, season 4, okay? So if you guys felt like this video was helpful, go ahead and give me a like and sub, join the Forge Discord. Love you long time. Randy out.